Hello, my name is Marcus and welcome to Tabletop Reviews. Today I'm having a look at a long-awaited Kickstarter. It took a long time for it to arrive. I backed it in 2020, it was set to release in 2021. I've now had it for about a month, gotten to play it, and it's a separate game. It is Solani. And the other game in this Kickstarter is of course The Girl Who Made the Stars. I always am about to say Solani and The Girl Who Made the Stars, but this is Solani. It's just one game. It's come from the Pillars of Creation series, a new series by Final Frontier Games. This is the first game in the line, so The Girl Who Made the Stars is the second game. And I am wondering when the third and fourth game is going to come out, because in the original Kickstarter they talked about 2023 being when it was to come out, but now they've removed all traces of that, so I'm curious. But this is Solani. It's about South American creation theory, as how the stars came to be. There's a little comic at the start of the rules, very interesting. I read it, it's a good short retelling of it and sets you into what the theme is. But for now, let's get it to the table, see how it's set up and played. Alright, let's get this unboxed. Very beautiful cover here. Put it over here, and of course the rule books. I don't need them, but always a good idea to keep them close. Then we have these sheets right here. These are player sheets, and always need at least one player to be the coyote. Just throw it over here and then throw one random one over here. Alright, then we have this one for the middle. You can kind of turn it however you want. Now, honestly, I can't remember all the terms in here for what their star clusters and their planets and their whatever. I'm just gonna kind of gloss a little bit over that because I just can't remember it. Okay, let me get out everything from in here. This is some other stuff, that stuff. Right. This one, the start player token goes to the coyote. And you have these little ones here. Just find the correct ones. So they match up with the symbols on them. Right? So this is the coyote. Now these ones are sort of clear, sort of not very clear. They don't fully remind you of it, but you can kind of tell which is which. Place them here. These stars are sort of to be like if you go above 20 points. Right, then you shuffle up these cards here. And you deal out 4 to each player. And then you don't need these cards anymore. Shuffle up these ones with the back like this, front like this. And just grab the top one, you don't need the other ones. Now this is the starting lineup of your first sort of tokens that are going to be on the board, which is in fact... See, I even grabbed the wrong one here. That's what I say when I say they don't 100% match. These red ones go right down here. Now I'm a little bit confused by the language, because either it's like you put it here, this person puts it up like that, this person puts it up like that, or you decide on a way to turn it and both players do it. It's a little bit of a weird language, but I really like the idea of doing it. Oh, I can't even remember the word. When you don't do it the same way. Oh, God, I can never remember that word. It's like rude. It's whatever. When you don't completely do it the exact same way, just to change it up a little bit and be different from one another, so you don't play the exact same game, but a variation of the same game. You know, when you play it, I can't fucking remember. Why can't I never remember that word? Doesn't fuck it, doesn't matter. Right, then we have the planets here. Starting from the middle and going out, you will have the amount of players plus 2. So 2 is automatic, and then 1, 2 for the board and 2 players. And it'll sort of be in a whatever order. And then you have the planets over here, and the rest just put aside for possible later use. I feel like I'm missing some planets. I feel like I don't have all the planets right there, but that's Luckily not important for you to understand the rules, but I feel like I'm missing out on some planets. Where the hell could they be? I feel like that's not all my planets that are in this game. Anyways, the red bag here contains all of these pathways looking like this. Just grab some out for you to see. Looking like sort of like this. This is an example. Let's get to that. This one, which is where I suspect some planets might be if I actually hasn't them. I'll have to count that afterwards. Contain star clusters. This is an example of a star cluster. Alright. These will be put to the side over here. And basically, you flip over these cards here. And then you bring in these tokens here that match. And oh boy, could just yay! This is one. That's good. There's a lot of them. Obviously, this is also to change up the game and make it different from your friend, which I still can't remember the fucking word for. This is just for the example of what you do. Anyways, at the start you draft to the amount of players +1. So you'll draft 3 of these, for example. And 3 star clusters. Alright, bam. And now it is time to bring in what's it called? Jesus fucking Christ. Anyways, which is what you do, the drafting phase. So the player has to start playing a game. I'm sorry, I was a bit off my head there. Drafts out, and he chooses one of the 2 things to draft. And now here's another one where I'm a little bit off about the rules exactly. So I've just kind of interpreted the way that I wanted to interpret them. But he can start off by drafting one of these or one of these. In the beginning, you need to at first place a star cluster. I'll get to the placement in just a second. But you can draft in any order you want, and he maybe chooses to draft this one. And he places it down here. And then this is where the rules are. Either all other players follow and draft the same kind of thing, or the players get to choose. The way I understand it is you follow. So you draft the same thing, because it makes sense. Then this person will draft. Now, you have 2 options when it comes to the star clusters. Either you can just take it, put it down here, like you did with the other one, or you can get a planet from it. So what you do is, here is printed smaller star clusters to showcase this is 4, this is 3, and this is 2. So what you do is, for example, if I take 2 star cluster, I take the 2 and I go out and I pick the planet that's the closest, replace it, this one with this one, and place the planet down here. And this is another one where I'm a little bit confused, but I think I've understood it correctly. Basically, some language in the rulebook, I'll get to that. But at first it sounded like you take the planet that is close to star cluster. So for example, 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So to get this one, you would need a 4 and you need to get past the red ones first. But what makes more sense is that you just count from the star one and then it's the planet that's the closest. So next time, take this one, the 2, and get this blue planet, right? It makes more sense if you ask me that it's, count here and then just the closest planet rather than the star cluster the planet is the closest to, right? So, star cluster and then the closest planet is what makes sense. But I could be wrong, of course. And you can take the star cluster. And now we get to placement. You have to place them in, and this is basically done at the same time. You have to place all of them next to a thing of the different one. So you have a red, these ones, and you have the blue ones, which is planets and star clusters. I just can't remember what these ones are called. I'm sorry. But so you have to place a planet or star cluster next to one of the red ones that is already filled out. And you have printed on already open star clusters, and of course you start with these ones here. So you can always place the first couple ones next to something, but it's a good idea to place them together. So for example, if I place the planet here, I'm actually guaranteed to score the planet. I'll get to that in a second. And I can place this one here. Alright. Sorry. Down here again you have the star cluster. Where would I place it? I would probably place this one like here. Maybe like here. And perhaps follow that like that. Just as an example of something
of a way to do it. That was actually fairly stupid. I'll get to that in just a second. Now, let me just get out. There we have it. A few things score throughout the game. One of those things is bright stars. If a star looks like that, it is a bright star. And it will score immediately. So let's say I put it at here. Then I pick a part of the sky. I'll show you, it's up in the corner here. Just see here that you have the north side, east side, the south side, the north and the west side of the sky. Let me just place it back here. Like this. And again, this is terrible placement for scoring later. I will explain in just a second. But basically, then I'll pick a part of the sky, northwest, east, south, whatever, and score the amount of bright stars in it. So, of course, to start off with, it doesn't really matter because I have 1, and it will score me 1 point. If I then later on, here's one more, and here's one more. Maybe later on, I place this one over here. I will, of course, pick north to score 2 points more there. But then I have a choice, because placing this one up here is actually stupid. You'll understand when I explain the rules. But if I placed it here, I wouldn't be capable of actually scoring it. So hopefully I could place it somewhere over here to score again north and get 3 points. Because if I just placed it here, I would choose east and score 2 more points. So that's sort of how to utilize bright stars. Let's score the 2 points just for fun. Yeah, now, the way you get one of these ones is actually if you fill out the entire around a red one. So this one is filled out because it's empty over here, so you don't have to fill that part out. And then you've placed some around it. This one counts as well, and this one counts as well as being around it. So you flip it over, and you choose any one of these ones to place in, and then score either 1 or 2 points. So you can see here, it needs to be up in one of these ones to score a point. It needs to share the sky with 2+ bright stars to score another point. Which is good, because if I place it here, for example, then it is in the north sky, and it shares with 2 stars, and it puts them there. So I would score immediately 2 points, and I sort of turn it around to show I have scored that one. Alright, now we get to the ending, and this is actually pretty cool. I haven't seen this one before. I don't remember, at least. Dry erase point marker. Alright, so how you score here is first of all the in-game points, which is right now 7 for this one. And then you would score the stars. Now the only stars you would score are stars that are fully filled. Like so. So now there are 2 stars here, and there's a line here and a line here. So 2 lines into 2 stars. Then you would score. This one is 3 stars, but it only has 2 lines, so it wouldn't score. And these ones, you know. So that would mean in this example, which is, you know, not a full example, you would fill the entire sky out. But actually, if I turn it like this, hold on, then there's 1 line going into this one and 1 line going into this one. So it would actually be 4 points. 2 for that one, 1 and 1, 4 points. Planets only score if there are no lines going into them. That is why I said that placement of a planet is actually really good, because there's no star that can go into it. Can you even see it? You can see it. Okay, great. I was in doubt you could see it there. It's a really good placement because no line can go into it, and then you actually score points. It's more than 1 point. Just Alright, yeah, sorry, I just need to remember. And then you score points for each of the sky parts. So this planet is in the south. But if I also had a planet, but it is also in the northwest, so it would actually score 2 points for planets for that player over there. 2 points for those planets. And then there are bonuses. For fuck's sake. What? Hold on. Have I misunderstood something here? Oh no, wait, sorry. The bonus is some extra materials I haven't looked at yet. I might do a quick video where I look at those. Confused me for a second there, but that, yeah. You count up your total. This is a pretty boring total, giving 2 points over here, so it's 11 to 2. Now, the entire game doesn't end until everybody has filled out their entire star cluster. You've put on all of these ones, you count up a bunch of points, and you'll score. I find... So, I actually misunderstood completely how you scored it, but that doesn't matter. In the first game or the second game, we scored it completely. But yeah, so that's very interesting. Yeah, and these stars, if you get 20 plus points, boy, that's it. Yeah, that's the game. Let's get back to the shelves, or whatever I say nowadays.
Solani is the first of three all new games that I'm going to have a look at. But as you heard in that one, bonuses. There's some extra modules in it. There's a Kickstarter exclusive, and there's advanced rules. I haven't played with those yet. Don't feel like I've got the entire game down, but it is a very interesting game indeed. Now, the first critique I of course has is the amount of confusion there is in the rules. How the planets worked, I looked at for quite a while. I didn't even talk about it in the overview, but I was wondering if there's a reset or not. There isn't until it's empty, and then you empty it all and fill it in again. This is not supposed to happen in a game. Maybe it will happen once. That's why I was wondering, but still wondering where the hell the extra planets are. I feel like I'm missing planets, but whatever. And then there are the other few little weird rules that was a little bit difficult to understand, but I feel like I've understood them correctly. So, that's nice. And I'm also in the rules missing very much an overview, for example, of all those extra cards you score and place down, just to elaborate what it means. I mean, reading through the rules a couple of times and playing the game, I sort of understand what it means and I can sort of explain it, but there's still somewhere I go, I'm gonna say this with confidence to my fellow players, but it is total guesswork whether it's correct or not. So I really needed an overview of those in the rules books. So the rule book is definitely pulling it down here. Let's talk about the gameplay, actual gameplay of it. So I like it. It's simple enough drafting, right? You draft it out, +1 for a player, so everybody has a choice, which is always a nice touch. And you take these two different can't find my words today. I'm sorry. You saw it in the overview. Still can't remember what the word I was. Asymmetrical. There it was. It's asymmetrical. Yes, I fucking remembered it. So the cards and the setup, of course, with the setup card, the two red dots, gives you a bit of asymmetrical goals and plays, but still it is the same game. Finally remember that one. Now we'll see if I can remember the other word in an hour or so. I cannot find my words today. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, we need to pick it out and put it in. I like that you have to put each one, round one next to a plus, otherwise you can't fit in. And that it also gives you a start to go off of, so you quickly can place them down. But that is basically the gameplay, of course. Of course, picking a planet, again, the way I understood it, I feel like it makes a lot of sense, and it is a really good system. And just a few scoring those extra ones, and of course, the bright stars, scoring those as well, is interesting to put in throughout the game. I feel like it could have become very mundane playing through it if it didn't have those two additional ones to think about. Of course, in the first game I actually misread the rules about scoring, and I ended up winning, but it ended up being very low scores. Then we played it knowing the rules fully, and we scored quite a few points again then. So, but yeah, those two additional ways of scoring throughout the game is a very good addition, I feel like. Otherwise it would be pretty mundane and just a puzzle in your brain to complete. Now I don't expect, you shouldn't expect to complete all the stars and all that. It is very difficult, especially as you close it off. This is something that I feel like a lot of people say down. Of course, Keystone of America right here is a game that I know some people talk down because it becomes very, very difficult to perfect. To me, it's always the challenge of getting it more perfect all the time. Just scoring more and more points, getting it more and more perfect until you have a unison. Where was I? Right. But these kinds of difficult scoring, right? I really love those. Keystone of America does it. It's difficult sort of scoring, something to wrap your brain around. Cascadia does it. I love these different kinds of scoring. And this closed off board, sure, some people will probably not like that it's a closed off board and you are limited in space can just distract out. I think that's why I actually prefer Cascadia over the cat one. Can't remember what it's called. We played it a couple times. But the closed off sport on that one is why I dislike it. Was the open space on Cascadia is why I love that. Also, there's a massive difference on house court, but whatever. This one has a closed off board, but I still really like it, and challenge of limited space with these items to try and score as much is very much what I love. And I love these complicated scoring. Again, love those complicated scoring, because then at the end you wrap your brain around it, and at the end you can go, oh, I did that good, I did that bad, better luck next time. Definitely it's one game that I'm going to have to try out solo. It's the same for Cascadia. These kind of games I think would do very well solo. But I might do another solo week at some point. I don't know when, but perhaps I will do another solo week. Anyways, components in this one, they're very nice. Of course, there's a bit of extra luxury to them. It's a Kickstarter version. No, I'm holding it very nicely. Yeah. The fabric used, it's the mouse pad fabric. It's the playing mat fabric used for your player mats, and the central board is very lovely, and it makes it very easy to store. Like, I find it very easy to fit it in here, and of course if it was a board, full-out board, it would still be easy. I find it very easy to fit in here, and it's just very lovely to have in your hands. And it doesn't make your components stuck, but it makes them fit very nicely. The components are very nice, wooden cut, wood printed, whatever it's called. Very lovely, and the bright stars easy to recognize from the regular stars. The lines easy to see where they are. There's a little bit of a mismatch of colors. Not all the colors match completely. I mean, you can see that's the blue, but they don't completely fit totally. So that's, yeah. One thing I forgot to mention about planets, it's different colored planets you score, and not just planets. So if you have 3 brown planets, not as good as having a brown, a blue, and a black, for example. Just forgot to mention that it's different planet. But again, that's a challenge, and trying not to get lines into planets is a challenge, especially when you get one of those that have lines going through all 4 sides. Oh my god, what am I going to do with this one? It's lovely. It's absolutely lovely. A lovely game. But yeah, the planets are also very nice, and they're distinct. Again, even if the colors smash or something, or doesn't really match, you know this is the planet, this is a star cluster, this is the other one. I can't remember the word for them. I'm not going to check the rules, I don't give a shit. The lines, you know it immediately, and the extra bonus ones, it's very easy. No, she ran away. It's very easy to distinguish them. When you have a car and you say, I need this shield thing, oh, it's right, that's that one. Of course, there's a lot of them, so you have to search through it. But that's like the only annoying part about the setup, I would say, are these ones, searching through and finding the correct ones, the correct players. But other than that, it's I like it. Other than that, I don't have a problem with setup. It's fairly easy. It comes right out of the box. It's brilliant. Yeah, and the components are really high quality. The little circle ones, as you saw, I actually missed it and got the wrong one. So terrible. So they don't, like on the playmats, they're different, but on the little disc, they all of a sudden look a lot alike, except for the QOT. The other ones, of course, what's that called? The humanoid looking ones. So that's of course very annoying. Lovely little first player token. I usually don't need a first player token, but it's fine. It's a nice addition for the people who use it. So yeah, components overall really great. The stars, fine. They're fine. But yeah, overall, really liked it, to be honest. Yeah, really liked it. Theme, that's where we're at. I love the theme. I really do. It's one of the things that draw me into backing Solani and the girl who made stars, and get both of them, is this theme of creation and exploring. It's a new creation story. I haven't heard it before. It's lovely to hear like this, and then to try and play it, you don't really get an understanding of how to. Gameplay, I don't feel like it matches fully. Like, you're creating the sky and the stars and putting in the planets. I mean, some of these things, sure, it sort of gives you this idea that star signs and the Scorpios and Cancers, whatever, is just made up because you can just place it however you want to. But at the same time, the planets you can't just place how you want to. The planets are where they're at. So, I don't know if the gameplay matches the theme, but the theme is awesome. I think it's interesting that Coyote starts. That's the rule. The Coyote starts every game, and that's very interesting. Very interesting, and it's a good way of choosing a start player. Mix up the mats and then distributing. Whoever has the Coyote, you're the start player. I think it's a very interesting way of choosing a start player. Very different. But again, the theme falls a little bit short in terms of the gameplay, but in terms of just the theme, it is an awesome theme. And I can't really see how you could feel it, but in the gameplay, but it's a lovely theme. So, does it lie to you? It says on the side here, 14 and up, 30 to 60 minutes, 1 to 4 players. As always, I don't play at 1 player. 2, 3, 4, I like them. I think 2 and 3 is my preferred player count. 4, it becomes, I don't know, it becomes a little bit difficult to do what you want, and it can become a very longer player because people need to think very much about the placements and stuff. So 2 or 3 players is probably my preferred. I am going to try it at 1 player. It's one of those games where I'm actually going to try it at 1 player. But yeah, 2 and 3 is the best preferred one. 30 to 60 minutes, I would say that's fairly accurate. Again, if you are 3, 4 players, people have to think for a long time about how to place it. It can drag out. It's fairly 45, 60 minutes-ish is a fair amount of time for 2 to 4 players. 1 player, it might take 15 minutes. It probably won't, but and then you have 14 and up. The gameplay itself is not difficult to understand if you want to go younger, and there's no text. The difficult thing comes in explaining the scoring, and in my experience, explaining this kind of scoring is difficult. So it's, I would say, yeah, 12, 13, 14 is about where I would start. But again, if you have a child that's used, I mean, when I have a son or a daughter or a child, you know, or anything in between, I don't really give a shit. As long as they play board games with me, I don't care. But I could maybe start them on a game like this at 10 if they play with me, right? Then again, maybe not. Maybe they are going to hate me because I forced them to play board games. So yeah, but it's fairly accurate. I would deem it to be fairly accurate. Of course, this is, as always, taking in mind time. 36 minutes is people who know how to play the game. If you don't know how to play the game, you're playing a full 4 player. I'm alone teaching 3 other players. Could easily take 90 minutes. Easily 90, 100 minutes. Easily. That's just how it goes, these kinds of games. So, what is going to be my score of this game? Well, my biggest complaint is, of course, the rule book. The things that I'm a little bit in doubt of. I needed a glossary of all the things. But overall, it did a good job, and there's a nice comic at the front. But maybe waste less time on the comic, more time on making a good rule book. The rule book is definitely one that drags it down for me. And then you have the gameplay itself. It's very simple. It's very simple. That's what I can say about it. I like the gameplay perfectly fine, but I feel like there's other games I would rather play. I'm gonna give Solani an 8 out of 10. I would give it a 9 out of 10 on gameplay itself, but the rule book is going to drag it down to that 8. It's so important to get a proper rule book in, and I have made a deal out of the rule book, but it is smallish complaints, but it's enough to drag it down to an 8 out of 10. Still a good score and still a game that I'm going to keep in my collection. Gonna see where Pillars of Creation series goes from here. Very much enjoyed this game, want to play it again. I like it a little bit more than The Girl Who Made the Stars, but that is for the next review. Very much watching. Bye!